Women share to be bold and take risks. The top women say what they feel and mean what they say. Yeah. The top believe in your power, so much power. Yeah. The top where women share, women share.
Bob Talks where women share. Hey, so be bold and take risks.
Hey,
women say what they mean.
What
they say. Yeah. Hey, we are here. Happy Thursday to all of you. Vault Talks is in the building. We're super excited. Why? It is the first of the month.
Wake up.
First of the month. Yeah.
Get up. Come on now.
Literally the first of the month. It's the first of October at that. It's fall. The leaves are falling. The weather is changing. Here in Chicago, it's starting to get real. It can snow at any time now.
Any moment.
It's time to dust the boots off. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I gotta come back to Chicago to get my boots.
Look, start buying the salt, stocking up on it, finding your shovel, all that good stuff. Cause anytime it can snow. So, but we're here. Vault Talks Women's here. Super excited to be here, as you can see. First Thursdays is dedicated to a segment that I created because we all have our own segment. But this one here is the Coaches Huddle. And it's so dope. We have some dope coaches here on the platform. I mean, that come back every Thursday after Thursday after Thursday since this segment has been created. So Vault Talks Women Share is indeed a platform full of empowerment where women come to share and learn more about matters that pertain to the world. It's indeed on this platform where we'll talk about love, relationships, entrepreneurship, fashion, sisterhood, and of course, ways to be empowered as women. So with that being said, let me get an introduction. We got Coach Kira coming all the way from Texas.
Yes.
Texas in the house. We have Coach Nellie P somewhere here in the house from Virginia. And of course, we have the sisters of Vault Talks Women Share, Lady Liz and Isha the Influencer. We have Viola Hall, Coach B, who's coming very soon. But I have a special guest that I would like to bring to the platform. This is one of my homies, one of my G's, one of my sisters. She's all things women empowerment. She's all things sisterhood. I can go on and on from the time that I met her and how we've become sisters. We go through like sisters. We love like sisters. We do all that like sisters, like real talk. And so just really super thankful to have her in my life. And she's killing the credit repair game, y'all. Killing it, smashing it, building people's lives. She's been featured in USA Today, Yahoo News, One. There's only one and only. There's only one. And that's Rika Wright. Come on to the platform.
Good night, everybody. How y'all doing?
Yes.
I kind of figured it was Rika. I kind of figured it was her back there.
Look,
that was a nice introduction, though.
I appreciate it. I was like, she's talking about me.
Hold on. Her face was like, who's she talking about? Who's she talking about? Who is this person? I'm like, girl, you hello. What do you mean? So one of the things that I love about this segment of the show, but before we go there, we got to hear from Isha. One of the things I love about this segment of the show is that we're all coaches in our own right. Coach Nellie P, tell the people about who you are and what type of coach you are. We can't hear you. We need to hear you, girl. We need to hear you. Okay. While she getting set up, we're gonna go to Coach Kira. What type of coach are you, Kira? Where are you from? How can we find you?
Well, I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I was a coach that's focused on people setting goals and helping them, like a strategic life coach. But I found a deeper purpose. And now I focus with entrepreneurial mothers and making sure they know how to juggle motherhood as well as their businesses. Because I know it's so easy for us to get off task based on experience. And so I'm now coaching women that want to have both, because while you have a child, that makes you want to build a legacy for that child. So it's really to keep them on track. So now my brand is CEO to Mom. Book coming out. Yeah, I'm working on the book, y'all. It's gonna be good, y'all.
Wow.
Find me on Facebook. Just look for Kira Ford. I'm gonna rebuild my website because now that I have a bigger purpose, I need a better website for that purpose. So
awesome. And a lot of moms need that. I can't speak to that per se, but I've heard a lot of moms just saying how they need to understand the balance. And I can understand that. I mean, I'm not a mom, but just balancing everything that I do, I can only imagine being a mom and then balancing everything you do. So I'm excited for your brand release. You can, utilize this platform to share and empower women, your moms, and like we already do. But we're just thankful that you're a part of this segment. We're gonna see. Okay, she's still coming. Rika, you are indeed the credit coach. Tell people about what you do and who you are and all that good stuff.
Hey everybody, I'm Rika Wright, and originally from New York, but I reside in VA. Got stationed here in 2004 by way of the U.S. Navy. So no longer in the military, but I help people repair their credit. If they need a will, life insurance, anything in the financial world, to make sure we're good. Especially with 2020 threw everybody a kind of a curveball. So we're helping a lot of families this year with credit, getting into homes, purchasing vehicles, or wherever they need to do to hit their goals. So I'm just excited to help a lot of families get to where they need to be.
Absolutely. We're definitely seeing some interesting times here with COVID and just 2020 as a whole. And you have a lot of people who are literally reconsidering purchasing homes just because of how low the interest rates are right now. And it completely makes sense. The refinancing rate or even the financing rate is at its lowest, like ever. And so, what I love about the whole credit repair game, and I will be very honest and transparent, at first I didn't like it. But now that I learned, more about it, and that's just like lack of knowledge will allow for you to say things before you really mature and understand what a true purpose is, right? And I can be honest and say that. And so now that I know what it is, it's empowering to know that there's people out here who are wanting to position people to really hit not just personal goals, but family legacy goals. There's many people who never bought a house before, who, have seen people jump from project to apartment to never make it to, the whole what the process of purchasing a house even looks like, or they've been told, oh no, don't do that. It's just there's so many things that we can talk about in reference to just the power of purchasing your own home and having ownership of something. So it's really important that we know how to repair credit, the why behind credit, especially if you were one where your parents put stuff in your name at an early age. Before you even had the right to your own social security number. Just jacked your credit up when you were 6.5. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's a true story. A lot of people are out there like that. So I love what you do. I really appreciate you. I am waiting for this one woman. I need to see her face before I introduce her. I see her behind the stages and she knows who she is. She probably ran away real quick. I don't want to add her to the stream. But when we have, we're missing 2 coaches. We'll let them join the board when they can. But until then, oh, she's laughing at me. Oh, okay. All right, laughing at me. I got something. Okay, girl. But right now we're gonna shift real quick. Because I know y'all waiting for it. I kind of read it, but I didn't dive into it. But here we go. Quiet, it's quote time. All right, Isha. We ready for you.
All right. So we are talking about communication. And as I was thinking of this quote, it's just like some of the things that, you know, hold us back from doing such. So the quote is, your voice is not tangible, but it can be taken. Your voice is not tangible, but it can be taken. And just, keeping in the mind of when we don't speak up, and what are some of the things that hold us back from voicing our opinion or just speaking in general. A lot of times we get attacked for who we are, the things that we say, and how we express ourselves, and that kind of makes some people want to retreat inward and not really express who they are and be who they are. We hear things like, you talk too much, or you think thing, and it's just like, it makes you feel as if you're not good enough. Who you are is not acceptable or accepted by other people, and it just makes you kind of shut down in a sense. So just realizing that people do have that power to take that away from you, and then realizing what it takes to kind of hold on to that. So if either one of you ladies want to grab that and run with it, it's on y'all.
Your voice is not tangible.
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, Julie, come on here. All right.
Go ahead, Mama Nelly.
That's a deep quote. You kind of have me stumped for a minute, because that's really a deep quote. Because really, we all have a voice, and using it is sometimes hard.
Yeah.
And communication, I think when we think about using our voice, we think about words, but it's more than just the words. It's the things we do with those words. And even the way we say, the tone we say it, could make a whole difference in the meaning that we wanted it to be portrayed. And I think sometimes for us, when we're passionate, it comes across as, oh, they're saying it in such a rough way, or they say, but that's just your passion. So I think sometimes we just, as women, especially for us Black women, depending on our sentence, we have to understand that how we vocalize what we mean makes a big difference in what we really mean to our audience. Because sometimes it could be taken just because we're passionate, or because we don't express it the way that others may think we should. Ooh. So we kind of, somewhat with communication, I always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Mm-hmm. Will give you the biggest impact of it. Yeah. So that quote definitely, we could give our power away without even realizing it when we talk. Right. So definitely something to be aware of when we're in a group. It's like knowing your audience, when you have to say what you have to say, and the impact that you make when you say it, because that makes a big difference in communication.
Right.
Wow. That was a mic drop right there, Nelly. Mm-hmm. That was indeed a mic drop. I think what I'm learning, and even when I'm coaching women, they don't place the honor on their voice. So what I mean is that they really don't understand the power of their tone. The words that they say can literally help shift people's lives, including their own. And I believe a lot of times our environment, either whether it's as a child or in the workplace or whatever that looks like, we don't place enough value on our voice because somebody told us that you sound crazy, or who do you think you are saying that, or how dare you speak that out your mouth. And so, the things that we've heard literally entering into our ear gates have literally gone into our minds to literally make us think that my voice is not as powerful as I once deemed it to be, or I don't understand how to really own the power of my voice because I've never been taught that my voice is powerful. And so it's not until later on when we get amongst different circles and we have that courage to open our mouths and speak and we floor them and we looking like, what? This is just how I talk. What do you mean? What's going on? You know? So what I'm learning is that I have to honor my voice for two reasons. One, God has placed me on this planet to speak, to share, to empower, especially women, right? So when you know your identity, when you know who you are, it fuels your whew, Jesus. Okay. It fuels you to move beyond you and to really be like, all right, I just got to pull the trigger and be this person. I just got to pull the trigger and push through this fear. Okay, well, they must have been ignorant when they said because I'm looking at myself and I don't see myself in that way. Or, my A-Spoon Coon always loves what I say and it always hits home. So either they crazy or I'm crazy. I'm gonna take it that I'm crazy enough because I'm gonna own my voice. Okay, really having those real conversations with yourself. When was the last time that you stood in the mirror and said, my voice is powerful? I can really shift mountains. If I can shift myself, I know I can shift somebody else. Like when have we been that real and been that vulnerable to really have those conversations with self first and then with others to really realize that our voice really needs to be solidified, not just in the mirror, not just in our cars, but literally being able to speak into others' lives and help them get to the places where we know that they can be. Because a lot of times it's kind of like when you lose weight, right? You don't see it, but other people see it. They be like, girl, what you doing? Girl, you losing that. Girl, what you been eating? I need that workout plan. Is that Kanye's workout plan? What you doing? They want to know what's up. So we have a power of seeing other people's potential and pulling it out of them better than they see themselves, with honor and value on themselves. All right, I'm done. I'm decreasing. Next. Yeah.
I mean, my take would be is my voice is not meant to be heard by everyone. And what I mean by that is, I might say, I'll use an example. I was in college with the ignorant girl. She is from Burleson. I ain't gonna call her name. We ain't friends. And she grew up in this bubble because it was one black person in her whole high school. So I had to school her on stuff. And she said, Black people are dangerous people. And she was like, you're not like that. I'm surprised. And she meant it, like she wasn't trying to be ignorant, like she wasn't trying to be sarcastic. She was serious. And I said, wait a minute, girl, where are you from? She told me. And so I explained to her, where did you get that from, first off? And she said, well, the news and the media and social media paints us out to be these evil people. And she's not the only person I heard that from. I actually heard this a few years ago from an Asian girl. She said over in Korea, they paint Black people as evil people, dangerous criminals. So one person got it, the other one didn't. I ain't gonna say which one got it and which one didn't, but I said the same message. So that's why I'm saying, like, if I didn't speak up for my culture and what I believe in, they would have just took it and ran with it. Now the other person, she made that decision not to believe my take on it. That's fine. I don't have to prove nothing to her. But the other person, she heard what I said, she took it in, and she was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And she wasn't as afraid anymore. I'll say it like that. But the other girl, she's still locking doors if she see a Black person on the street. So, like I said, my voice isn't meant to be heard by everyone. Some people might get what I say and some people might not.
I like that.
Just like if you give a speech, what you're coaching about, every client isn't for you. Just like every person isn't meant to be your friend or meant to be in your circle. That doesn't mean your voice isn't important. It just means that person isn't meant to hear it.
I like that. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go next. I think my take on it is when it comes to family. When you are in a Caribbean household and you want to get your voice to be heard, you need to speak up. Okay, so if you don't speak up, sorry, you lost your turn. Your turn came and went, because it's no telling being part of a large family of when you'll be able to speak again.
Wow.
Especially if you're not willing to, like, politically correct, step on somebody's toes in order to get your turn to the mic. So I've always thought, like, I felt like, oh, my voice does not matter for a number of years, because especially because of the way that I'm seen as the baby of the family. I'm not seen as though I know too much or have any sense as to what I'm referring to. And it's affecting me in other ways, and like whether it's in business or whether it's in just, in social standpoints of being with friends and things of that nature, where I tend to be quiet initially because I'm scanning the room. I'm kind of getting a feel of the room. And then where I feel comfortable, that's when I'll start speaking up. And I haven't really had to be that type of person, who wanted to be the center of attention either, because I've noticed that as well. Like, people who speak up, who speak forward, are center of attention. I've always wanted to play the background. I'm learning that that's not my place. God is constantly showing me that, I'm meant to be out there. I'm meant to be in the forefront. And, sometimes we have to take these steps, whether it be baby steps or leaps or giant, whatever. Like, I have to wear somebody else's shoes in order to get to that step that I really need to be. But
wow,
it's really just taking the time and just taking the steps, and really just, stepping into the person that you knew that you were always. So I'm still learning that, being a part of this sisterhood, is helping me and teaching me that, I have a ways to go. And, God constantly surrounds me around people who, who are doing things that I want to do. So I'm constantly being taught, and I'm constantly being put in my place where, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. So you're constantly doing something. And that's exactly what I've been doing when it comes to music. And I'm, getting there, slowly but surely getting there, just constantly. So don't ever think that, you're not where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're getting there. The baby steps, girl.
that's good. That's real good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've had Viola Hall join the crew. Hey,
Hey.
What's up, my beautiful Black Nubian queens?
hey, we're hitting his house.
Oh, y'all looking good out there.
Well, thank you, girl. Thank you.
Hey.
So we're talking about your voice is not tangible, but it can be taken. V, what you got for us?
Oh, yeah. Look, I had to write that one down. Oh, y'all were hitting on a lot of stuff. Like, y'all was walking all over my feet, like, for real. Like, I was over here hurting, because not all of us are raised to be able to use our mouths for communication. Because I know we're talking about communication, right? Mm-hmm. So some of us have been in that environment to where you can't speak about what's going on in this household. You can't speak your mind unless you are asked to speak. Like, the environment that I grew up, I couldn't speak my piece. I couldn't actually speak my feelings. So I had to harbor a lot of things inside of me. But see, what our parents don't understand is that as we get older, that really stunts our growth. Yeah. Communication growth, that stunts our, what we think about ourselves, our self-esteem. That really stunts a lot of things. And I feel like if adults our parents, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, they weren't brought up, some of them weren't brought up the right way. And I don't say that as a disrespectful way, but I say that as, sorry, they don't allow children to be able to speak in a respectful way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if my children, if they have feelings inside and there's something going on, I would rather them come and talk to me about it instead of keeping it in, because that's why we have a lot of suicide going on. This is why we have a lot of, to me, schizophrenia and all these other type of issues going on, because it's emotional distress. Trying to keep all of that stuff on the inside of you, that's too much. And we were not made and created that way. Our bodies were not made to deal with a lot of stress. And so I love that, for the simple fact that your words do mean a lot. They say words don't hurt. Yes, they do. They hurt. They will tear you up. Like, they will cut you so deep to where it will take you months to try to heal from those words that people have spoken to you or spoken over you. And so a lot of those things that people speak, those are spiritual words that people are speaking, and they have no idea how damaging it can be. So I love that quote, because we really have to be careful about the things that we say. That's why I'm very careful about what I put on Facebook. I'm very careful about what I speak over people. I'm very careful about what I pray over people, because I know once those words come out of your mouth, they're creating havoc. They're creating positivity. They're creating some walls being broken down. They're creating something, whether you see it or not. So I think that it's a very powerful quote.
Love it, love it, love it.
So I think that words, like she said, words are powerful, right? God spoke and created. He didn't just think about it. He spoke, and it was so. So whenever we say something or don't say something, right, we're creating. We're constantly creating, whether we're speaking or whether we're being quiet. So we have to realize our value, why we're here. Why are you on this earth? And speak whatever that is, whatever your reason is, whatever God puts on your heart, say it, because you might be reaching that next person, and then when you don't say it, and he's like, well, didn't I tell you to say that? And you're like, I mean, you did, but you know what I mean? So we just have to be obedient to God. So that's how I look at that quote. Be like your creator. That's it. He created us. So he created us for a reason. We don't know all the time 100% what that reason is. He shows us as we go. But if we go and follow it and be obedient, hey, the sky's the limit.
Man, I love it. I love it. Anybody else that has not had a moment to say anything? All right, y'all. We about to get in it. I ain't just talking about at our ankles either. We about to get knee deep up in this next topic. And I think I shared it with Isha first, and then I shared it with Liz. It was something that crossed my mind just because as women, first of all, we're strong, we're powerful. And I believe sometimes that we don't portray that because of the words that we don't say or do say. It can go both ways, literally. And the delivery. And it's crazy. And I got to give props to my mom, my grandma, and my babysitter, because what I'm getting ready to say, I've heard for all these years. And now that I am the beautiful young tender age of 38, I understand it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you hear, it's like those cliches you hear all the time. Well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And at the time it goes in one ear and out the other. You're like, whatever. You ain't trying to hear none of that, right? But then something takes over you and you literally start, I know for me, and I know my grandma's watching. Hey, girl, how you doing tonight? I love you. And some of the things that she said and has spoken over my life, like I'm not allowed to go out the house single. Now she lives all the way in Birmingham, Alabama. I live in Chicago, Illinois. Okay, but when I look at that mirror and I'm wrinkled, I go get myself together. So it's just quick, real quick too. So it's some of the things that we've learned, even through environment, whether it be childhood, workplace environment, religious settings, whatever. But there's something about the art of communication amongst women that is so powerful, yet it's still causing us not to hit bullseye. And I really want to talk about that. We gonna talk about that. So the sisters, the queens of Vault Talk, have come up with some powerful, and I do mean powerful, questions so we can have that roundtable discussion starting right now. So, first question on the table. How do you express your vulnerability as a woman? How do you express your vulnerability as a woman? Y'all are smiling. Y'all like, I wasn't ready. It's okay. It's okay. We in this together. So really, how do you express your vulnerability as a woman? What does that look like?
So I'll start because I was literally just having this conversation maybe an hour ago with a friend of mine. And we were kind of discussing like, how do we, I don't want to say create a safe space, but I just think your space should be safe, period. You know what I mean? Like, why do we need to create that? It should be safe.
Wow.
And because we're all vulnerable. We all have that vulnerable, we're all made for each other. We're all made to have people in our lives. We're all made, it's only people here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there's animals, but it's only people. It's men and women. That's it. You know, so we all, you know, we're all people. We're all beings. We're all supposed to be here together. And if we can't be vulnerable with each other, then what are we here to do? You know what I mean? What are we here for? We can't share, and then you feel bottled up, especially during this pandemic. You have to share because so many people are suffering in silence. You know, everybody's going through different things, but kind of the same thing at the same time. And if we were vulnerable and able to speak about it, or we chose to speak up about it, we'd be surprised at how many other people are going through the same exact things, and they're suffering and going, well, I don't know if I should say anything. They might think of me this way or that way. And, you know, even our sisters, right? We say sisterhood, and sisterhood is so important. As women, we're so powerful, y'all. We're so powerful, you know, and if we come together and work together and just be us without pretense, without makeup, without the mask that we are forced to wear now everywhere, you know, take the mask off, be yourself. If you're yourself and the other person's their self, now we can click. Now we can go, oh, that's who you really are. Like, once the mask is off, like, oh, okay. You know, and we can be real. We can be real with each other. But if we're not being ourselves and you're not being yourself, then what are we being? You know, we're just being fake. And that ain't gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it. Like, we're here for a reason, literally, and we gotta figure out what that is, how we can help each other, how we can grow together, what makes us tick, you know, what is it that you're going through? Because I can help you. If you're going through something and I'm going through the same exact thing, we relate.
Yeah.
I'm going through something and you already went through that same thing. Now you can help me.
Wow.
But if I fear that, oh, there's no safe space, I can't talk to you, then I'm gonna sit here in silence and suffer, you know, while you are going along your way. You don't already been through that. You got the key, you got the degree, you got the t-shirt that say I'm done with that, been through it, I'm good. And I don't know that, you know, because maybe you're scared to share that, oh, I've been through that. So shame comes into that too. Like, we're ashamed of where we've been through or what we walked through. And if we were just to say that, or say, hey, I had an abortion, or hey, I'm a single mom, or hey, whatever it is, that other person could be like, oh wow, maybe I can go talk to her, you know, and see what her story is, or whatever it is. Just, you know, we just have to create or be the safe place, not create it, be that safe place, so that the vulnerability can show. You know, just be real. Take the mask off.
I love that.
I think with that, it's just like I hear you saying like the safe space, and that's something that's necessary. But when you think about it and you talk about sisterhood and you're one on one with your sister, right? And you're expressing whatever vulnerable thing that you're trying to get out, it's just like you have to really know people's background, because we are our environment and we operate in certain ways because of the way we, you know, the things we see and how we've grown up. So if this person is showing you that, okay, I judge people, you know, I gossip, I'll take what you say and go spread it and tell everybody, then, you know, people have been hurt by being vulnerable. And that's why we have such an issue with just, you know, expressing ourselves in that way. Because the culture, if we're just being honest, the culture, we see this on television all the time. It's the gossip, it's the talking about, you know, you don't have this, you don't have that, such and such is going through this, and that's just what it is. So it's just like, I know myself personally, I'm not comfortable with sharing certain things with certain people. I'm very guarded in that sense. And I've lately been trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I be more expressive and be more vulnerable? But, you know, when you look around and you see the way that people interact and communicate with each other, it's just like, okay, no, that's not a safe space, so to speak. So, and that's when you create those silent sufferers and people who just kind of tend to get over things by themselves. And also pride, like you said, that shame factor sets in, and you don't want to express the things that you've been through in front of other people, because we are judgmental, we are gossipers, we do talk about people behind their backs and go tell, you know, whatever it is that was said as soon as the phone hangs up. So that is, you know, a reality that we have to face when it comes to being vulnerable with our sisters. And I think that's something that we need to address. It's just like, how do we get over that, and knowing that, okay, even if you are going through the same thing I am, you'll still feel like, you know, my situation is worse than yours, and I'll go, you know, make you seem like a worse of a person. You know what I mean? Just to have something to do. Like, some people just grow up that way. They see their, you know, their parents, their moms, their aunts just sit around and they gossip and they talk, and they pick that habit up. You know, it's not, you know, anything intentional, but that's just their culture. That's just their way of doing things. So just talking about like creating that um something to break away from that culture of the gossip culture and just learn how to really handle people's vulnerable stuff. So I think that's something that we, you know, have to have a conversation about.
I would like to piggyback on Aisha. I'm like her. I don't open up to just anybody and everybody. I've been hurt. I've been, talked bad about, been judged. And sometimes you kind of back away and be like, I don't know if I want to share anymore because I don't know who to trust. And that's
Mhm.
kind of where I created a small circle. I call it my love circle. It's only a certain amount of people I put in my love circle. And those are the people I'm vulnerable with. That's my safe haven, but that's a safe haven I created. I know they can share things with me. I have some secrets from people I still haven't shared, and they're over a decade old. That's the safe place I created, because I've told them I've been hurt before. You break trust with me, I'm cutting you off. And that same thing went with my husband. While we were dating, he had to work to that trust. And I said, you hurt me, you done. There's no coming back from this. You are RIP'd, and I mean it. So it's the same thing. I have to create my own safe haven of who I want to choose to be vulnerable with. Because if I just go off to the side and I just talk to whoever I want to, I don't trust them. They might just start talking out the side of their neck and just tell all my business, and then it'll be in the news next on Facebook News tomorrow. So that's why I don't post everything on Facebook. I'm very private because of things like that.
Right.
I would say something on that. I've met people along the way where they have been bold to just tell all their business up front to whoever, strangers even, because I was a stranger back then. And I was that stranger. And we were at a party, and the guy just put all his business out there. And, of course, he got some looks. He definitely got some looks. And, we kind of looked at him like, why would you even say that? Why would you defame your own name in front of some random? And his point was that, well, if you're gonna gossip, at least you'll do it in my face. If you're gonna like, I've already told you everything there is that I believe is negative or good about me. It's who I am. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna go back, and tell you one thing and turn around and tell somebody else. That takes too much work. Why not just tell you what it is right now, right then and there? And you either gonna love me or you're gonna hate me, and that's it. And I kind of love the way he said that. I loved it. I mean, granted, to anybody new that's doing that, I don't recommend. If you don't have that backbone, okay, I do not recommend going out there and kill some random stranger your business, because you don't know how they're gonna take it. And you don't know how you're going to take what their response is to you. And that's the key word on the end. But I really loved how he was just so bold and so like, I'm assured in myself. I am good with me and who I am. And you're saying, and piggyback off Rika, you're the safe person. You're not worried about everybody else who's safe or unsafe or anything like that. You are your safe person. If you can understand it, no matter what comes out of my mouth, no matter what people try to use against me, it doesn't matter. I'm okay. I'm good. I know how to let that, rope like go over my head. Like, oh, that's what you said. Oh, okay. I mean, that's your opinion of me. That's totally fine. And it's getting back to that place of not of understanding. I love me. Whether you love me back, I love me. So I think that expressing yourself, expressing that vulnerability it's honestly, it's like I kind of get to feel somebody, get the mood of someone or get the feeling of someone. You feel somebody's energy, and right off the gate, whether or not that I want to share this with you. So, I mean, I think people just need to be a little bit more bold, but try it out with your friends first. Try it out with the people that you so-called know, or don't, or don't want to know.
Don't try to
no. Because I believe that even with like my story of being pregnant with my son, I believe that my story is definitely going to help the next person how they manage and how they deal with it. So I can't be afraid to tell it, because it's my story that God gave me to tell.
Right. You're right. That's right. And Tim just posted the word, that's freedom.
Yep.
Like that, you have to be free of your own stuff, because we go through stuff and we hurt, but we have to grow through it. And it varies from person to person in your level of growth, where you can be comfortable with your own stuff and tell your story in front of people. Like that's when you're free from it. But when it's fresh and you're holding on to it, and it's just like, it's very hard to have somebody else take that from you and just go spread it when you're not ready, when you're not in that stage of expressing it to people. And I mean, it can be hurtful. It can be, more detrimental than what you went through, just having somebody breaking that trust. You know what I mean? So we have to learn to grow and just embrace all of who we are and what we've been through. I mean, it might not even be that bad, but to have somebody, who you trusted to go and kind of violate that, and it puts you in a whole different place. But you can grow even from that and just realize, okay, people make mistakes. I made a mistake, and just move on from that. But you just have to kind of know, in order to, if that's not something that you like, not something that you feel comfortable with, okay, don't share that with this person. You got to keep this person over there in that box, not necessarily write them off, but they have some growth and they have some things they have to grow through and get over as well. We're just all at different stages in our journey to where, it looks different and it feels different the way we handle and react to certain things.
Absolutely. We're going to be here. So this is a fill in the blank question. So if women were blank and less blank, we can communicate better. If women were blank and and less blank, we can communicate better. Yeah.
I'm going to say,
Okay.
oh, you
No, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on, kumbaya all together.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. So if women were more, um, the first word that came to my mind was confident and less judgmental, we could communicate a lot better. Because, and even myself, you know, when I was growing up, people were, they didn't like me for whatever reason. But I'm like, why? I'm this loving type of person. You know, I'm very bubbly. You know, I'm cool. You know what I mean? But it's something that we all possess deep down inside of us that when we walk in a room, spirits stand up, because that's what you call when you walk in a room.
Yeah.
And so some people have not fully developed that confidence yet. Some people are still on that journey. Some people have already developed that yet because they know exactly who they are. And so whenever you walk in a room, you know, people judge you based off of how your spirit is, how bubbly you are. No, you just know who you are, right? Some people haven't found themselves just yet. And so a lot of people take people's confidence for being cocky or, you know, being like, oh, she's all that. And it's like, no, that this is where that communication comes in at. And you really start to read that person and read their spirit and really have a conversation with them. Because like you said, you know, you can read a person by just talking to them.
Yeah.
You can read everything about them. So if you strike up a conversation with somebody, you never know, y'all can end up best friends. You know, so I feel like that, you know, we got to have more confidence in who we are as women and being less judgmental.
That's so huge. I mean, your blanks were so powerful because a lot of women struggle with just owning the skin that they're in. And a lot of that just goes back to like what we were talking about with women having that struggle with owning their voice. It's, you know, lack of confidence or being told, you know, who do you think you are, you know, doing this and doing that. Just the words, the power of words have literally stopped us from literally being effective in our communication and even being effective with understanding who we are as women and to really just flow and just understand that you have the power to either restrain yourself or to be free. It's a decision. So, you know, yes, this happened. Okay, so how long are you going to continue to go back to the place of where it happened? And stay in that place? Or are you going to make the decision to evolve as that better person to understand that you need to be more confident as a woman because people need what you have and you need what you have. It's time for you to activate what you have. So it's powerful. Man, V, that was good. That was super good.
Yeah, you took one of my words. I actually came up with this, and that I was in the same mind as you were. It's just like I think a lot of times we lack confidence. So when we see someone, like you said, walk into a room and they just look like they have everything together, we automatically go to, oh, she thinks she's all that, and just start thinking of hateful things to say. So I was in the mind of women were more confident and less hateful or less prideful, then we could communicate better. Because, you know, just judging a person based off of their appearance or the things they say or do is something in that person that you want to be, that you aspire to be, that, you know, whatever that kind of motivates you, that you're attracted to. So it's just like knowing who you are and knowing that, okay, if this is what I like about this person, because that's, we all know that's what jealousy is. It's just love and hate at the same time. I hate you because I love you. I hate you because I love that you're doing something that I want to do. You're wearing something that I want to wear, and that type of thing. It's just like we have to learn how to celebrate each other and congratulate one another and just say, okay, if she can do it, then I can do it too. That's something that I want to do. Let me ask her, like, how did you get to this point? Like, how did you, you know, get that? Or where did you get that from? That type of thing. Instead of automatically, you know, turning into hate. You know, in an instance, I think it's just like an innate natural thing, because we, you know, we do it a lot. And I, you know, I get the ugliest looks, the eye rolls, and, you know, all of that. Just, and it's just like, you know, somebody can come off one way or seem one way, but when you actually have that conversation with them, you'll see who they are. You know, out of the mouth, the heart speaks. So
Right.
just if you open your mouth and have a conversation with that person, then, you know, whatever it was that you were thinking about them, it wouldn't be as bad. You know what I mean? So we just have to
Absolutely.
learn how to break down those barriers and those walls and those mindsets of just this hate mentality that we
Right.
have all the time and just want to tear each other down.
Right.
So, you know, we speak on sisterhood, but I don't think we actually know,
Yeah.
you know, what it is, what it looks like, and how to actually, you know, embrace that
Right.
as women. So if we can learn to love ourselves, I think it's a self thing. Of course, it starts with self.
Yes.
Learn yourself,
Absolutely.
learn to love yourself more, and then you can learn to embrace another woman. You know,
Hmm.
it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I noticed for sure is that when we enter into rooms and you look at a woman and you look at her outward appearance, we have to remember some women cover up who they
Yes.
really are, their hurt, their shame, the embarrassment, not wanting people to really see them by wearing the red bottoms, the Gucci, the Louis, whatever, to give off that facade to make them feel good with the fictitious skin that they're in, meaning the clothing, the lashes, the hair, the lipstick, the mascara, the earrings, whatever, to make themselves feel comfortable with being in a room with other women that they're probably intimidated by because they're moving in different directions that they desire to move in, and they're in this place where my safe place, watch it, is shopping to make myself look all glamorous
Hmm.
so people won't really tap in to really
What's
see
on the
how
inside?
miserable I am, how broken I am, how I really need sisterhood, how I desire sisterhood, how I'm lacking confidence, how I need to get healed from my jealousy of other women, how I need to figure out who I really am. I mean, there's so much that goes into how women carry themselves. And for me, and my mom's watching, hey mom, she's the first to know. We will be out together, and it's nothing for me to walk up to a woman and be like, girl, your hair is bomb. Because I mean it from my heart. And I know how we are as women. We don't hear that enough from other people. Sometimes we desire to hear that. Sometimes all we need is somebody to see me and to say, wow, they see me as beautiful. Why don't I see this? They see me as my hair is cute. Why don't I see it? Sometimes women do this as a routine and really don't see the beauty in who they really are because they're so busy covering up the shame, the hurt, the rejection, the pain, the abandonment, because they don't want to be seen as the broken one. They want to be seen as the woman that they really want to evolve into being and have no clue on how to get there. And like you said, Isha, we don't really embrace women the way that we should. We don't, or some women are so quick to call you sis and sister. You be like, oh, I've been knowing you for 1.5 minutes. Why are you calling me sis already? About that. I don't know about you. I'm gonna put you in the I don't know about you category real quick because I'm speaking from the heart, yo. But it's just like, hold on,
Right.
So that's why having those conversations is really important. And anybody who knows me knows I talk to anybody. Literally, I walk past people, oh, how you doing? They be like, who are you? I'm like, I don't know you either. Hey, because sometimes people just need a hey. Sometimes people just need a smile. And as women, we have these stank faces all the time. And I mean, stop making stank faces. Now, just stop. Just stop. Learn how to embrace who you are, so you can really make yourself smile. So you don't have to be intimidated by the next woman because she has on fuchsia lipstick and she's rocking it, or she has on the bomb earrings and you want them. You know what I mean? Just the petty stuff. We got real women who are really hurting. We got real women that we walk past every day who need a touch for to be loved as a sister for real. So how can we get over the barrier of not communicating effectively with one another to really help heal one another? Because that's what we're on this planet to do. We're here to heal, help, serve. Like I just to me, it's such a, you don't get it. You know, it's bigger than how cute you are as a woman. Okay, that beauty fades. Let's be real. You know, so then what? You know, some women, if they took off the wig, the lashes, the eye makeup, that they took off all that, it would be a totally different woman. Are you gonna embrace her the same? Are you gonna love her the same? Because that's what she really is. So all that.
But to her, I think too, a lot of it's not inner you. Like you're saying, you have my thing was to be more honest and less confrontational, because I think we have to have that belief that we are important enough and we are special enough. Because if we have that comfort in ourselves, when we see the next lady, we won't have to be like, ooh, wow. We won't even have to do all of that. We could embrace her and we could meet them wherever they're at and deal with it. Because it's just like we were talking about earlier. I truly believe in growth, and we're gonna meet people that are gonna betray us. That's just life. We're gonna have people that are gonna say stuff about. But I am a true believer in the last 7 to 8 years, I've learned I'm gonna tell my own story. So if you go and spread gossip, I don't care, because I know my story, and if you want to know it, I'll tell you. And I think once we get to that point where we're not ashamed to say what we mean or how we mean it or what we've been through, the other stuff is really nothing. You could embrace. And I'm like to Kurt, if I see a lady with some nice shoes, I'll be like, "That's a cute girl," or whatever, because they're yours and that's you, and it's beautiful on you. Because I feel beautiful what I'm seeing you or not. But I think we have to embrace that with ourselves, so that when we see our sisters struggling, we don't have to push them to the side. We could help bring them up, because sometimes they don't even know they're struggling. It's like you were just saying, they have everything, look like they have it going on, but they go home and then it's a whole different story. But sometimes you could see through that as you feel people's energy.
Yeah.
We can't just dismiss them because we're like, oh, well, she got that. And I think we do that a lot out of just like, I want to deal with it. But sometimes we could be the one person that could bring that sister along. So like, it's okay to take the lashes off today. It's okay to take the wig off today. It's okay to show your beautiful hair. It's okay to show your nails. But we don't do that, because the minute once somebody step out and they look a little different, it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? Instead of just saying, hey, you know what, you're beautiful just being you. Because we all need it. And it comes from having a comfort level in who you are, that other people, when they say stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, I know I got big hips and big butt, but they're mine. You want me to do about it? They're mine. I can't go to the store and take them back. They're mine. They come from a generation of beautiful Black women. They're mine.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna pump them. I ain't gonna suck them out. I'm gonna keep them. But to get to that point, because people, growing up, you always hear, "Oh, you got big butt, big hips." People, I used to tell myself, people. My son is skinny in nature, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna be big." I said, "People are dying to be your size." And when I said it to him, I had to look back and say, "People are dying to look like you. People are injecting their booty to get a booty like you. What's that about?" What's that about? You got to bring it back in perspective from yourself. So when those negative things are coming, you could be like, "Say whatever you want. I'm good with me. I'm good with me."
And that's what I think, from what we are gathering here is just like the main issue with women communicating is we're not feeling comfortable with ourselves. But the thing is, it depends on what we value. So there's a beauty standard that we all feel pressure that we have to live up to. And if you don't look like this, and if you don't have that, or even if you do, you get a certain type of response from other people. And it's just like, learning to embrace who you are more. Like if everybody can do that self-work, and then we can come together and have better conversations and communicate a whole lot better. But it's just like, it depends on what we value. What our value system is how we measure other people and how we measure ourselves against other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the next question we got on the table. We got one or two more, and then we're gonna hear from Viola here in a minute. You got something for us, Vi?
Oh, well, I was going to just kind of piggyback off of that and just say, we have to be the reflection. See, so when we look at somebody and we're being the judges, we have to look in the mirror, because when you're judging somebody else, you're truly talking about yourself when in all reality, because there's something deep down inside of that person, like Lisha was saying, that Rika was saying, that our coach here was saying, that you either want, that you need, or that you got to have. And so if you really just truly look at yourself, when you get ready to fix your lips to say something about somebody else, just put that mirror up to your face and be like, okay, what am I looking at here? Because whenever we fix our mouth, our lips to say something, we have to make sure we check ourselves first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's good.
Wow. With that being said, I've started a watch party and I have someone, shout out to Joanna. She said, it isn't our job to judge, though our safety comes with boundaries or comes from boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So as women, what are some ways we can unify our voices to create and not compete? What are ways we can unify our voices to create and not compete?
I think know yourself.
Yeah,
And
come
I
on.
mean, that's what it boils down to. Once you know yourself, there is no competition. You're you.
Right.
So there's nothing left but to say, hey, sis, okay, now we can collab.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no competition. It's like I'm one and you're two. Oh, okay, now we met. Now it's 1 and 2 is 3. That's it. So you know who you are. If I know I'm a 1 and I know you're a 2 and you're a 5 and you're like, we all are our own, like the piece I wrote the other year, we're all a piece of somebody else's puzzle. We all are.
My.
So God made all of us for a reason. We're all a specific piece. And if the puzzle is jacked up, it's not going to be a beautiful picture. But if we all know our piece, we all know our reason, and we all know our purpose, and we come together because we know ourselves, then it all blends together. And there's no competition. We're literally right where we need to be.
That's
And
good.
it's going to be a beautiful picture. So, when there's a piece missing to a puzzle, you look at it like, it's something missing. It's 4 pieces missing. If we just had those 4 pieces, the puzzle would be perfect. It'd be done. But if you don't know your place, or if you don't know you're that puzzle piece, so I think knowing yourself is important. It's so key. And you'll know why you're here, and then you'll know who you need to collab with. Instead of competing with somebody because you don't know who you are. So just get to know yourself.
That's good. You said skirt, don't even
That's
do it.
dope.
Just don't even go there. I mean, and that
I had some gunshots right now or something I can blow up.
right?
We got those sound effects coming.
Yeah, we sure do. Oh man, look here. We got someone out in the watch party world that says every day I learn how to be better. Therefore, I only compete with myself.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
That part.
I was just gonna make one statement and say we all can eat. And a lot of people think somebody's gonna steal from their table.
Right.
Just know that we all out here can eat.
Yep.
I'm not stealing nobody's food.
That's good.
Facts about that.
And we don't have to be alone when we can literally create and be around somebody else who can create and be around somebody else who can create. When you're okay, for instance, I love going to cafes. Why? Because everybody is in there and they working, they grinding, they creating something. If it's creating a business or they work in their 9 to 5, they're in their computers, they're reading their books. Just the energy that gives off when everybody is in their place and they're doing what needs to be done. The same thing when we allow for ourselves those weights, those boundaries, those chains to literally shift. We're allowing ourselves to be like, you know what? And be vulnerable to be like, you know what? I can create, even though I do this and this person does this and it's similar, I'm still me and they're still them, but it's going to be different. And so I think the thing is that it goes back to, and we keep saying it, knowing who you are is really important because it allows for you to be very distinctly different in a way to when you create a collaboration with the next woman, yes, y'all are working together, but people can clearly see that you're 2 different people. And so, it's more powerful when we work together. When 2 come together and make one, that's relationship talk. but it's applicable right here. But when you can really come and get molded with other people who are like-minded like you, it's better than you working by yourself and trying to figure something out. You know, you can't bounce ideas off yourself and think that they're the greatest things on the face of the planet. Sometimes you need somebody else to be like, look, I believe this is really good. Let me just give you 2 cents. And when I say that, it's different than leaning on somebody all the time, like to where you don't have any creative juices. Utilize your creative juices and learn how to mold and shape your own lane. But know that you can go to other women who are on the same path as you that can give you a little something or just to shift you a little bit to get you realigned to being on the path, on the straight path, not the crooked path, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And
yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I want to say something to piggyback off of that. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to run. I mean, that's just fact. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because I know I'm not. Because I can't grow being the smartest person in the room. Period. Yeah. So that means that you create. I mean, you are the top 5 people that you hang around. So if you hanging around losers and jokers and smokers, and you gonna be right along with them.
Facts. Look, that right there. All right, let's shift to the next question. This woman really knows how to create long, elaborate, mind-provoking questions that make you really sit back and think. So
we're gonna put the long one up there.
We're gonna put the long one up there. We're gonna end with the long one. How do you balance being a mother and professional? What? A mother. How do you balance being a mother and professional? What have you sacrificed both professionally and personally and professionally at each stage of your career?
First of all, there's no such thing as balance. That's number one. It's never going to be, and yes, I'm a Libra, so there's that, you know, we're always like, oh my God, how do we do this? How do we, you know what I'm saying? We have to get that out of our head. This balance, you know, myth. No, like you have to figure out what works for you. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's family life is different. Everybody's structure is different. You got to figure out what organization, you know, means to you. Not so much balance. Like, how can I get myself organized to where I can flow? You know what I mean? It's not always, I have to have a balance, 30% of this and 30% of this and 30% of this, 10% of this. It's never going to just mesh, you know? Yeah, and I'm very spontaneous. Sakara knows this. But I don't think there's ever a balance. Like when you're in business, man, organization is key. But as far as just everything balanced, you know, I'm a single mom, and my son will tell you, "Ma, you're on the phone all day, or you're doing this, or you're doing that." So you have to create those times, right, in your schedule to where you're like, okay, this is the time where I can focus on my son. This is the time where I can focus on my body, right? Because if we're not healthy, you ain't gonna work in nobody's business. You're gonna be sick. So you have to figure out what works for you. That's how I've come to do that. I balance. I don't think there's such a thing, but that's just me.
I mean, when you speak, balance, it doesn't necessarily have to be like equal or even on, you know, both sides. It's just like, how can you hold all these things, you know, at the same time? How can you juggle? And just we have a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. So being a mother and being a professional, like you say, you have to carve out that time in your day. I'm gonna dedicate this time to my son. I'm gonna dedicate this time to, you know, working out. I'm gonna dedicate this time to working on my business, or, you know, whatever. It's just like, how can you juggle? And I was mentioning this the other day. It's just like doing that helps you to be more present in that moment. So you're not, you know, spending time with your kids and then worrying about other things that you could be doing. Just know that, okay, I've already dedicated this time of my day, you know, to my son. This time of the day, we're gonna work out. So just having like a schedule and being able to juggle everything, because if not, the overwhelm is just going to set in and then you're not going to get anything done. So just, people can kind of call it a balancing act in a sense, but balance, just, it doesn't mean it has to be even all the time. You can always rearrange certain things. I can spend 50% of my time here, another 50 here, however you want to split it up. It's just like, can I get all these things done in one day? What can I do with my day? How can I rearrange my routine in order to balance everything? It can be done, but you just have to be, like you said, organized in a sense, to know that this time is allotted for this time is allotted for this, and then I touch on every little thing, and we good. So that's the balancing thing, that that's how I look at it.
I can say I agree with both of them. It's, to me, I use the word juggle. I'm a brand new mom. Actually, the baby's right here in my lap because she was crying with my parents, so I brought her in here.
Congratulations.
And so I'm doing a lot of different things, and I have to put everything in my phone so I can have a sense of when I got to do things, because I have a speaking engagement that's a summit, a 5-day summit next month, and I have to get my logo done. I have to get my coaching program finished. I got a lot of things to get done for that. I'm writing my book, so I have to have time for that. I'm taking a real estate investment course, so I'm doing that. And I have a wealth creation group that I started. So I have a lot brewing. So I have to put everything in a schedule. I've sacrificed my time and my sleep to do all this stuff. I don't have personal time. I have business and family time. The personal stuff, getting hair and nails done, going to the spa, all that has been axed out. That I got to put that on the back burner until she get older. But I would just say you have to prioritize, have a check and balance list, and make sure the things that you want to get done is done before the end of the day. And if it ain't done, don't kill yourself. Don't beat yourself up. That's what life is, being a mom and an entrepreneur. It's going to be some things you're not going to get done. You might can't clean today. That might have to be put off tomorrow. I mean, it is what it is. It's just getting the things you need done, put it on your list, and make sure it's done by the end of the day. What doesn't get done, start tomorrow. It's always tomorrow. So that's just how I look at it.
So I'm gonna just add this, since I have a grown child. What I have learned, and through doing parenting classes with other new moms and stuff, is what's important to you. You make quality time when you're with your kids, your spouse, your family members. The phone, put it down. Make the things that are important to you quality, because you have to juggle. Like all you guys are saying, you have to have a schedule. And I did it in the military with deployments with a son. And you're not at home. You miss birthdays, you miss stuff like that. And we have learned that when you're home, you're at home, and you make sure that the time you spend with your kids, because you will never get a time back. You have to make sure that you spend quality time with your spouse and your friends and family. When you're with them, you have to be in a moment with them, and you can still grind, but there's a balance. And I truly believe there's a time for everything. When you're raising your kids, you raise your kids. When they're out your house, you're free. You do whatever you want. But that's an important job in your life. If you have kids as a mom, that should be one of the first priorities for you. And if you fail that, you're going to be doing it when they get out your house. Trust me. So you want to do it while they're in your house. So it's important to know what you're going to spend your quality time on, so that when it's time for you to really get on your grind, you have the freedom to do that. And your kids are well, because you've taught them what they needed to know to get out of your home, to have their life. But it is a juggling act, and every phase is different, because every phase of your kid's life, they're going to require more or less from you. And you can't, and I always, people always said, when your kids get older, they don't need you. I'm here to tell you, them teenage years, you better be on point, because that's when they get in the most trouble. That could land them in problems in their adult life. So you kind of have the things that people tell you, unless they've been through it, you kind of have to be like, all right, let me talk to somebody that's been there. Because kids in their teenage years, to me, require more of your attention than you will ever give them when they're that young, when they're toddlers. Because it's just, some of the world just has so much to pull them away from you from. So I think the balance and absolute everything you guys say is key. I just wanted to add that when you're home with your kids and your family, take that time seriously and be in the moment. Put your cell phones down and do things as a family, because they'll always remember the memories. They won't remember the things you bought them to, when they were kids, but they're gonna remember everything in their head that you did with them when they were young.
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Now I'm just gonna be real quick, yeah, because see, I have 3 little ones. They're about to, one of them is about to be a teenager, but he's 12. Our daughter just turned 10, and then we got the 2-year-old. So it ain't easy. It's not easy whatsoever. But this is why you have to try to have some type of structure in your life, because when you don't have structure, all hell will break loose. And you just have to understand that things are not going to be perfect. Like Coach Kira said, sometimes you're not going, like, y'all, I'm looking at a pile of clothes right now. Who you think gonna fold them clothes? Them kids are. Because like you have to be able to dictate jobs to your children as well, especially when they start to get older. Start giving them a little bit more responsibilities. Let them help you in the kitchen. Okay, let them like clean the countertops, sweep the floors, do the dishes. Like rinse them off, put them in the dishwater, in the dishwasher. As they get older, you have to be able to take some stress off of you as the woman. Because there's so much responsibilities on us, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because it's very challenging because you have so much stuff that you have to do. So as a mother, as a professional, as an entrepreneur, you just have to be able to have just different structures for your children, depending on how old they are, dictate duties. Even if you have to get a personal assistant, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do so that your life can be somewhat balanced to where you can get stuff done and put your highest priorities at the top of the list. So if folding the clothes is not a priority, it's not on the top of your list, and there's something above that, then don't worry about the clothes. If you don't like your floors being dirty and stuff like that, then hire somebody to come and clean your house, because that right there is going to take some pressure off of you so that now you can work on income producing opportunities.
Right.
And so that's just key right there. But there's no such thing as balance. Like I'm about to start cooking dinner, y'all, because we kind of, it's that time. Like my husband, he has to go to work. So I make sure that he has to have food. And so I have to be able to do what I have to do so that things can get done, so that the children can get in the shower, get into bed because they got school tomorrow. So It's just all about prioritizing and just doing it, just figuring it out. Sometimes you just got to figure it out. Throw yourself in the fire and figure it out.
This is powerful. And, I think that there's something, I know that having conversations like this are really powerful to be able to help unlock women who may have issues with communicating on where they are with life, being vulnerable, understanding the power of their voice, understanding the power of collaboration, understanding the fact that they don't have to do everything alone. They don't have to be in their own little bubble alone. They don't have to feel rejected. They don't have to feel lost. They don't have to feel broken. That women can literally go through the process to do the work to be free from these things. And being able to have conversations like this allow for women to realize that there are real women out here who really love sisterhood, who love being able to have these conversations that are needed to be able to help them shift. I mean, I know for me, just spending an hour and 18 minutes and counting just on the platform, it allows for me just to hear different voices to allow us to all know we are all in different places yet unified. And that's the important thing that we have to realize. We're unified. First of all, we're women. We're powerful, and the world deems us and knows that women are powerful. That's no secret. But the secret is how do women really get to the place of embracing who they are, period, for them to really get to the places that they need to get to just with effectively communicating with themselves first. And I think a lot of times we neglect self. And when we neglect self, there's no way that you can be vulnerable to have a conversation with other women, especially if you're not even willing to have self conversations. And so that goes back to what we were told. Oh, talking to yourself makes you crazy. No, it's not actually. You have to empower yourself. How are you going to empower yourself if you don't talk to yourself? What's it going to look like? So
That's real.
it's super real. You know how many times I be in the car, people think I'm listening to music. I'm really talking to myself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and like Rika said, God spoke the word, y'all. He spoke things into existence, and this is what I wanted to ask you guys for the listener that's out there. It's like, well, how do you do that? How do you actually encourage and empower yourself? Because most women don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
That's good. I think it really starts with first, maybe prayer, meditation, just forgiving yourself for the things that you've gone through. First of all, start there. Start with a cleansing.
Yeah.
And then rebuild your foundation on a healthy ground after you've cleansed. And so then being able to speak life into yourself after you've said, okay, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Now it's time for me to really look at myself and say, you know what? I love me. And it's tough for a lot of women to look into a mirror and tell themselves that they love themselves, because we hold on. As women, we're carriers. Naturally, we're carriers. Think about, we are created to carry babies. So if we're created to carry babies, we're created to carry secrets. We're created to carry the shame, the depression, the hurt, the rejection, because nobody really teaches you how to get rid of it. No one says, oh, you've been through this, baby. Now let me help you get through it. No, it don't work like that. So first, forgiving yourself for real. Sometimes we go through the forgiveness process and then we find ourselves right back at the place because we've spoken the words, but we haven't allowed the words to really penetrate in our souls. So it's just lip service to ourselves. And if anything, we need to stop just lip servicing ourselves. We need to be real with ourselves and just be like, you know what? I did this. It hurt. Now it's time for me to say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, because it's not helping me to carry this baggage any further, because I'm not getting anywhere. I use the analogy, I'm going around the mountain, but I'm not going around up the mountain. And I know for me, I got dizzy going around the mountain. Okay? I lost my footing from going around the mountain. I got leaning on one foot, trying to, it's an uncomfortable place. So just really encouraging that sister to say, look, start with forgiving yourself. If you can't look yourself in the mirror at this point right now, write down your shame, your faults, your rejection, put it on paper. Start there, write it out, and then rip it up, throw it away, and then start. I do that with my clients. I'd be like, look, rip it up. We're going to put it in this plastic baggie right here. We're going to tie it up, and I'm going to walk you to the dumpster. You can say whatever you want to say, but when we turn around and come the other way, we're done. It's a new day. And we're not taught that, y'all. We're not taught how to get rid of our stuff. If anything, we're taught how to carry it more than anything. Because we're taught, yeah, the bag lady. What goes on the house stays in the house. That's how we create baggage. That's how we create baggage. We're not taught to be free. We're taught to
be a strong woman.
For real. We're taught to walk in shackles. That's what we're taught. No one says, no, you got the clippers in your hand. Clip the chain. You got the power.
Right.
We don't talk about that. We don't do that.
That's painful work, though. That's real painful. That's a painful process to go through.
Yes.
At your stuff and then just be like, oh, I have to let it go in order for me to get over it. But you've been holding on to it because that's what you have. That's all you know. But we hurt ourselves more than other people do. Because we hold ourselves to, a certain expectation, and then we beat ourselves up for not doing certain things or having certain things or being where we think we should be.
Yeah.
And it's just like we do a lot of self-sabotaging things to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're holding on to things. And like Erykah Badu said, the bag lady, I guess nobody ever told you the only thing that you really have to hold on to is yourself. If you don't hold on to the core of who you are, you will lose it.
Yeah.
And you can still be holding all these extra things that don't really mean you any good. You know, you'll tell yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not this, you're not that. And that's what you're holding on to instead of, you know, who God created you to be, who God says that you are. That's who you have to hold on to. You know, who you were when you were that innocent child and everything was, you know, okay and you were free within yourself before you start picking up other people's opinions and thoughts and, you know, their judgments about you. Like we hold on to that stuff to where it's just we deplete ourselves
Yeah.
and we don't know who we are. So there's this meditation that I found on YouTube called Honoponopono, something to that effect. But it's just like a forgiveness meditation, and it's a guided meditation where it just tells you to kind of release and forgive yourself for this, and it will literally bring you to tears to just be in a position to say, okay, I forgive me. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times we hold other people in contempt for the things
Yeah.
that they do to us, but we never address ourselves and just like, okay, you said this about you. You did this. You think you're this. And it's just like we don't hold ourselves accountable for the mean and hurtful things we do to ourselves. So if we put
Right.
ourselves in a position to let that go,
Yeah.
then we can really look and then we can look in the mirror and see who we are and say, okay, I forgive you, I love you, you know, let's start over, let's start fresh. And it'll really clear your slate to allow you to actually pursue and go after the things that you want and that, you know, you feel like that you should have. Like we
Yeah.
hold on to stuff that holds us back all the time. So just being able to release, like we
Yeah.
have to let ourselves go of that contempt that we hold ourselves in all the time just for, you know, not being, having, doing certain things. um that's where that real love starts. Like you said, we
Absolutely.
can't really look at ourselves and say I love you because we really don't, you
Because
know
we're
what
ashamed.
Yeah.
right.
There's a lot of people walking around in bondage right now, and they have no idea why they are in bondage.
None.
Right. And they're
None.
holding themselves there like you're holding your own chains, like you have the key to
To
unlock
unlock it.
yourself.
Yep.
You
Mhm.
just won't. But
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you get over that part, and that's where the growth starts to take place, and you can start to elevate and then help other people, you
Yeah.
know, build that sisterhood in that circle. And that's when you can attract, you know, like you said, like-minded people to yourself. It's just like you, but you have to do the work, and that's what we really have to realize. It's
That
like
work is
we have
hard.
The work. Gotta do the work.
Got to.
we have to do the work.
Yeah.
That's right.
That ain't no punk, but it's so worth it. It's so worth getting rid of, and watch this because I don't think that we realize this. A lot of the stuff we carry has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with us. But
Right.
some of the stuff we're carrying is generational stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Wondering why it's there in the first place.
Wonder
Right.
in person. And I did not understand that. I mean, and here's the work part of this is find resources, whether it's YouTube, whether it's books, just understanding something that you need to put in your ear gates in front of your eyes in reference to this personal development. What does self-love really look like? Where do I start with that? Because we and Jerome said it best on he said they said last week. Gotta go back and check that out. It was a powerful session, but he said that when we think about self-care, we think about managing petties and getting your hair cut and getting your beard groomed and all that. And it's so much bigger than it goes back to the mental health. And when we think of mental health, we have to think of what does that look like for me? That's when you have to get selfish about how important my mental stability is. And that's when you have to get vulnerable with self. What makes me tick? What pains me? What makes me go through these moments where I don't love me? What makes me go through these moments where I'm severely depressed? What makes me go through these moments where I don't want to be around nobody? What makes me go through these moments where I'm on an anxiety times 5? Like I'm super, what makes me go through this? What are my triggers? How can I properly identify my triggers so I can work on self healing myself?
Mhm.
Self healing myself. And people be like, oh, that sounds real stupid. No, it doesn't. You gotta understand the power of self healing, and then going to the word of God if you're a believer and healing yourself. Read the scriptures I love. I've been following this girl this week for 4 a.m. prayer. Her name's Pastor Erica. I don't even know where she's out of. But last week she said she was going to be talking about self-love this week. When I tell you 4:30 in the morning, I don't care if I go to bed at 3:33, I have been up. And just being able to be in the presence of other people who need to be reaffirmed with self, but aligning themselves in the things of God and recognizing how important self is, even from a biblical standpoint, is doing something to me this week. When I can tell you that and Liz and Isha know, I have been off the chain, full of joy all week. I've been super, anybody who knows me, I'm goofy, but I've been really goofy this week because I've been really happy because of just being in the presence of God and getting self healed off of things that, watch this, that I didn't even know that I was still struggling with until it was revealed in prayer. When somebody else comes aside you and you're like, dang, am I really struggling with that still? Okay, well, I want to get free from that. I want to be healed from that. But that has to be a self-desire to be free and healed from things. And that's those conversations with self. And I really feel as women, if we had more conversations with self and started working on self-healing, then we'd be able to be vulnerable with the next woman, to be able to collaborate healthily with the next woman, to be able to build healthily with the next woman, and not care about her $3,800 weave that she has in her hair or her $7,000 shoes and purse. Not care about those things and see her beauty, her growth, and how we can collaborate together to make our purposes collide as one. But we got to start with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like you said, it has to be a desire.
Yeah.
You have to want to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware or become aware that you need that help, that self-talk or that whatever it is. You have to know, like, okay, something's wrong, or something needs to be addressed. Yeah. And then you have to want to address it. If you don't, it's just going to keep going and keep going. It's going to become a cycle, and then your kids and everybody else around you just going to suffer because of you. So once you realize, like, okay, there's an issue. How do I deal with this? You might have to go get help. You might have to, if you feel like you can't do it yourself. Like me, a year ago, I was like, I need to go see somebody. Like, this ain't normal. I'm done. I'm overwhelmed. I can't. I just can't. And I went and sought a therapist because I'm like, somebody can help me. It ain't me, but somebody can help me. So you have to be, aware or mature enough to be like, I need help.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to go get that help. So, and you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
You have to want to do it. You have to know, like, God put you here for a reason bigger than yourself. So if yourself is in the way, get yourself out the way and get the help you need. And so you can move forward.
And see, a lot of people don't even know how to recognize that they have a problem. Because your family and your people around you, that's what you grew up around. That's where you got your habits or whatever the things that you do from. So it's generational and it's normal because that's what you're used to. That's what we grew up around. And it takes the right person to come in and be like, look, that ain't right. Like, you be doing this, and I see where you get it from because your mama do it too, and then your grandmama do it too. But it's just like that. This is not okay, and just being in a position to accept that, from that person, because it's hard to hear some of the things that you do wrong. You know what I mean? We're never wrong. We're always right. Everything we do is justified. But having that right person come alongside you and be like, look, like, this is not okay. This is something that you need to change or, look into, or, why do you do this? A lot of times we're not even asked, why do we do certain things? We don't even ask ourselves that. We just do. We just operate in certain ways all the time. So it's just like recognizing your bad habits, your, generational things that you carry with you. That's tough. But it's work. But you have to have like that right person. Even the friends that you have, like attracts like, bird of a feather flock together. All of y'all doing the same thing. These are your friends that you grew up with, through childhood, and you're still doing the same childhood things. and you haven't really, attracted different people in your life that'll help you grow because you're not on that level. You're still operating in that same space. So it's going to take someone else on the outside to come in and kind of penetrate what it is that you have going on. And then you have to be in a position to receive what it is that you're saying. Because it's hard and it's tough. And, you say anything, well, you shouldn't talk like that. Those are fighting words to some people. It's just like, how dare you tell me something's wrong with me? Like, who are you? You know what I mean? We would defend our mess. Like, we would defend our mess to the end and just like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. This is how I am. And we get stuck in that this is who I am. And it's just like, okay, yeah, this is who you are, but this is not who you should be. This is not what God called you.
That don't make it right.
Right.
That part.
Do the work.
The thing about life is we all have the power to change what we don't like. And sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love what Les Brown says. He says, until you deal with it with grace, it's going to stay in your face.
That's right.
On that note, this has been Vault Talks Women Share. Thank y'all so very much. We went over, but it was so worth it. Tune in next week. We got Lady Liz up talking about debunking your debt. And second Thursday, help me, what we do?
That's me.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I got it. Finishing strong, finishing the year strong.
Sorry. Yes, finishing strong for the year.
Yes, so we're gonna come with some tools, some tips, surprise guests on how to finish 2020 strong. Because we started off strong, and a lot of people allow COVID to hit them in whatever way. COVID was a silent blessing for a lot of us. So we're gonna teach y'all on how to get the results, the fruit of your labor, to really end the fourth quarter super strong. So that's what second Thursdays are. I had to remember. Had a moment. I got caught up in this great conversation we had. So look here. So Vault Talks Women Share. Thank y'all so much to the coaches. Thank you so much, my surprise guest. Mwah! Thank you for joining, and we out.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Facebook.